Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Josh Benson. Time now is 3:55. Starting at 4, residents along West Shore Boulevard and surrounding neighborhoods in Tampa are still battling the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Concerns are now growing about mold taking hold in the wake of water damage. What residents are doing to try to pick up the pieces. Now let's check in with meteorologist Rebecca Berry.
With Hurricane Helene now well past us, I'll break down when we could see some more movement in the tropics. That's next at 4.
When you see news happening, report it at WFLA.com. Live, this is News Channel 8 at 4 on your side.
A brutal path of destruction impacting several southeastern states, including Florida. Roads wiped out, boats washed up into front lawns, and homes severely flooded. We're live on the ground and up in the air taking a look at the devastation days after Hurricane Helene.
And 8 is on your side to let you know where you can get help, whether it's for essentials like food and water, navigating insurance claims, or even a place to take your pets while you clean up.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Josh Benson.
And I'm Stacy Scheibel. Thank you for joining us. Businesses in those coastal communities hard hit by Hurricane Helene are busy cleaning up the damage.
For instance, on St. Armand's Circle in Sarasota, almost every business was impacted by the record-breaking storm surge there. News Channel 8's Allison Henning joins us now with a closer look. That's got to be a mess, Allison.
Yeah, it really is. The St. Armand's Circle Association tells me that every single business that is on the ground floor was impacted by the storm surge from Helene. If you take a look here, you can see the high water line. A lot of these storefronts have been emptied out. Many shops with merchandise emptied out throughout the circle here today. Most are working to reopen as soon. Now, one of the only first-level businesses that we spotted open here on St. Armand's Circle today is actually Daiquiri Deck right here behind me, where you can see folks enjoying some drinks out here. We did check, and this local business group does have other restaurants throughout the area, but we did look, and their Siesta Key and Bradenton Beach locations, they also suffered some damage. Circle, Allison Henning, 8 on your side.
Thank you for that. 4 days after Helene hit, the National Hurricane Center is monitoring a few disturbances in the Gulf and the Atlantic. We do not want to hear about. Rebecca Berry is standing by to let us know if we need to brace ourselves. What do you think? A lot of people are paying attention.
Absolutely. All eyes are on the same area that where Helene came from. But in the meantime, the Atlantic is just running through storm after storm, but they're all fish storms. And so we just want to get these out of the way. We have post-tropical storm Isaac up there, tropical depression Joyce right here. This is tropical storm Kirk, expected to become Hurricane Kirk, and another system right behind Kirk expected to take another name, but it too will curve to the north and stay away from any land. And so all eyes right now are focused on this area of potential development, and they did lower the chance for it to develop over the next 7 days from 50% to 40% today. And so that's just a sign of how uncertain things are. When I'm watching the long-term forecast models right now, one scenario brings a weak system because of a lot of wind shear into the Panhandle or even further into the Big Bend area, but we're talking tropical storm, tropical depression, nothing like what we just saw. The other systems have the storm develop in the Gulf but resist traveling north because of the shear, and then travel more towards anywhere from Orlando southward to our area southward across the state as a weak Category 1 hurricane. So certainly doesn't look like it's going to be strong, but it does look like it could be a rainmaker by the weekend or beginning of next week. But it is way too soon to tell right now. You can tell just from that uncertainty and the fact that they've even lowered the chance for it to develop slightly. That's a sign of an uncertain forecast. We will know more probably by about Wednesday. Looking out over Tampa right now from our Veterans Ford camera, you can see puffy clouds out there. We did have more clouds than sunshine at times of the day, but we still enjoyed a little bit of sunshine. Not looking at much on terms of rain on Max Defender 8, staying pretty dry for the night. Temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s, mid 90s over Winter Haven, a little warmer over those inland zones. And for those without power, we don't really get comfortable until after sunset when we're in the low 80s. We end up in the upper 70s early tomorrow morning for a comfortable start to your Tuesday. We start to look at some isolated chances for showers.
Residents along West Shore Boulevard and surrounding areas in South Tampa had a lot of their homes gutted, and they are cleaning up. The fear now is mold, which is why so many are acting so quickly. News Channel 8's Brittany Muller joins us live. Brittany, what have you seen today?
Well, Stacy, neighbors are taking it day by day here in South Tampa along West Shore Boulevard as they gut out their homes. And where we're standing right now, we are not along the waterfront, but take a look at the damage. Piles of debris everywhere as these residents deal with the aftermath. Another live look out here of the damage and piles of debris here in Howard County in South Florida. They loaded up their SUV with waters and snacks, and they're going road by road in these neighborhoods, just trying to do anything that they can to help. And it's so inspiring to see these people come together in such a dire time. It's amazing, Stacy.
It does bring out a lot of good in people, which we always like to see. How are the city and the county helping all those flooded residents?
Well, Hillsborough County, the city of Tampa, they're working together to provide 6 comfort stations throughout the county, and they'll be providing food and water, as well as restrooms and washer and dryers and other supplies. The Red Cross is also participating to provide resources. We'll be posting those addresses on our website, WFLA.com, for those in need because of Hurricane Helene.
Yeah, there is help out there. People just need to find it. Hopefully we can help with that. Brittany Muller, live in South Tampa. Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of those comfort stations, they're now open in Pasco County for people impacted by the storm. This comes as local and state leaders are working to get basic necessities out to people because that's what they need. Hundreds of supply trailers are now in and around, and hundreds are on the way. The hope is neighbors will have less to worry about as they recover and they rebuild.
How much different do you feel now?
Oh, like $1 million.
It's been 4 days since I had a shower.
A hot shower. We've been squirting off with a hose, but it ain't like a good hot shower yet. It's just, there's nothing like it.
The comfort stations will be open throughout the week. And as Bay Area families clean up their homes and after devastating flood damage, there are a lot of questions about how to hire the right contractor.
And that can be one of the biggest decisions you make. What if the contractor wants money up front? 8 on your side, consumer investigator Shannon Benkin joins us live. She's in Hillsborough.
Josh, when your house is flooded, you need to act fast to keep that damage from getting worse. But it's very important that you be careful to make sure you don't make mistakes that could end up costing you a lot more money. And as you start that remediation process, the BBB recommends that you take plenty of photo receipts so that you can give all of that to your insurance company. Back to you.
Yeah, Shannon, we were out driving around and I saw those signs for contractors at about every intersection, just, offering to help these people. But it is important what we do next when you hire one. What about contractors who want to work directly with your insurance company? Should you allow that?
I've been getting a lot of questions. People are asking that question specifically, Josh, because they're being told by contractors, sign this form, we will do the work, and then we will bill your insurance company. So I called the CFO's office today, and they tell me to be leery of that, to not do that, to call your insurance company first, let them handle the process, because if they send a bill to your insurance company and the insurance company says it's too much money, you could find yourself on the hook for the difference.
Great advice. Consumer investigator Shannon Benkin live for us tonight. Thanks so much.
Still to come, Helene certainly left a mark on many southeastern states. Roads completely gone, leaving residents stranded in places.
The latest on the conditions in North Carolina and the federal response to the storm. That's next.
Keeping you safe, the Max Defender 8 weather team on News Channel 8.
Officials are calling the flooding in North Carolina unprecedented, with water wiping out parts of the popular tourist town of Asheville. Residents are struggling there to get fuel, food, and even clean water.
And on the ground, water levels reached several feet, with some areas nearing the tops of street signs in the city. Fast-moving water surged above front door steps, inundating buildings, and small businesses nearly flattened by Helene. More than 200 people have been rescued from floodwaters in North Carolina alone. And millions across the South are struggling to recover, much of the region very much devastated.
The number of lives lost due to Hurricane Helene is well over 100, and that figure continues to grow, with thousands still unaccounted for. NBC's Jay Gray is in Boone, one of the hardest hit areas of western North Carolina.
President Biden is expected to travel to affected areas this week. Additionally, the presidential candidates continue on the campaign trail through key swing states and are weighing in on the devastation in the wake of Helene.
I want them to know we're not leaving until the job is done. I also want you to know I'm committed to traveling to the impacted areas as soon as possible, but I've been told that it would be disruptive if I did it right now. We will not do that at the risk of diverting or delaying any of the response assets needed to deal with this crisis.
We are deploying food, water, and generators and working to restore water and power.
They have to be focused over here. It's too big. This is a really bad one.
And if you were impacted by the storm, you can now apply for federal assistance through FEMA. Disaster assistance is now available for neighbors in Citrus, Pasco, Pinellas, Hernando, Hillsborough, Sarasota, and Manatee counties. You can apply online on the FEMA app or by calling FEMA.
Taking a look at what we're watching, that potential area of development in the tropics, I wanted to show you how uncertain the forecast is. We're looking at the GFS in green and of course the Euro in red. The Euro develops a little bit faster. The GFS struggles with developing, keeps it weaker and moves a little bit further north, whereas the Euro encounters that shear and just kind of starts to slide southward. And so it's still too soon, way too soon to tell where the system's going to end up or if it even forms and becomes a system. But just looking at the timing, by Monday afternoon, most of the forecast models do have it in the Gulf. And so it's still too soon to tell. We'll probably know more by Wednesday, but no forecast models are pointing to any solutions where it's a strong system impacting the same areas. It's all systems are weaker, some of them weaker than others, but unfortunately it looks like it could be a rainmaker by the weekend into the beginning of next week. Looking out over our Marina Point camera, temperatures are in the upper 80s, dew points in the upper 70s, so it's definitely sticky out there. What we're not seeing are any big chances for showers in your forecast, so we have a pop-up shower just to the east of I-75 in Manatee County there, right on the Sarasota County line, but generally looking pretty quiet. Watching this area right here for the signs of some more showers to develop. A little bit of a boundary there could provide just enough lift for a few storms. Mainly inland chances for showers moving forward from this point forward. Sunsets at 7:17. After that, any rain showers that are out there will start to taper. We're staying warm though in those low 80s through most of the evening hours, so very uncomfortable for those still without power. By 6 o'clock, we're looking at an inland shower or two. By 8 or 9 o'clock, they're gone. We wake up to a few showers offshore, but not a lot of them make it onshore. They generally remain offshore or fade very quickly as they approach our coastline tomorrow morning, but it's just not a dry start. By 2 o'clock, we've got a decent chance for showers along our I-75 counties here, and that tracks inland and grows in intensity and coverage as it moves inland. So by 5 o'clock, still looking at some robust that continues to track eastward. And things get really quiet for for Wednesday morning. Here's what we're waking up to on Wednesday morning, mainly mid-70s and partly cloudy skies. We will have a few showers, but they won't be quite as widespread as Tuesday afternoon storms. We're seeing a couple of showers pop up along I-75 by 5 o'clock. A couple of showers get pushed across the state by easterly winds as well and entering our inland counties. And those two generally collide along into the east of I-75 where they flare a bit, but still not looking at widespread chances for rain. These are pretty isolated downpours. Moving into Thursday, it's more of the same with those easterly winds pushing a few showers across the state. Here's how it breaks down day by day in terms of rain chances over the next 5 days. Here we've got those downpours, especially along I-4 and southward, especially to the east of I-75. Stormy at times, especially tomorrow afternoon, moving in tomorrow evening. Fewer of those storms on Wednesday, but they're pushing across the state and kind of flaring up along I-75. On Thursday, we'll have some isolated afternoon storms as well. We're looking at better chances for rain on Friday and Saturday with some lingering areas of rain on Saturday, especially with light steering currents. And so 50% chances for showers tomorrow, mainly midday into the afternoon hours. Later chances for rain and lower chances for rain on Wednesday and Thursday. Back up to a 50% chance on Friday, but keeping that later timing. Moving into the weekend, chances for rain do increase, especially as we may have the chance to interact with some tropical moisture by the end of the weekend and beginning of next week. But once again, that is not a done deal. It's still way too soon to tell if it's going to end up raining here on Monday as a result of those tropical storms, but we build the forecast as we see it and make adjustments as we get better information. I do think by Wednesday, maybe Thursday, we'll have a much better idea of what we might be dealing with in the Gulf as the system starts to spin a little bit and give us a better cue on what's going to go on.
It's nice to know all the other storms though are heading north.
Yeah, fish storms. We need a lot of those.
We love fish storms. It's our literal favorite thing.
Still the hot spot.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. All right, up next, the Bucs have a big game ahead this Thursday already, and Tampa Bay faces its first division opponent, the Falcons.
Hear from head coach Todd Bowles.
The NFL is stepping up to help families affected by Hurricane Helene. According to NFL.com, more than $8 million in donations will go toward delivering resources and support. That includes a $1 million donation from the Glazer family, which will benefit local nonprofit organizations in our region.
News Channel 8 is your official Bucs station, and boy, they came out swinging against the Eagles. The Bucs defeated those Dirty Birds 33-16. And as Eileen Natchick reports, it's a quick turnaround this week as the team gets ready for Week 5 this Thursday. Still to come, access to one community still very limited after Helene.
Yeah, we are hearing from people who live in Clearwater Beach and also had tonight these 8 Underside stories.
Destruction and devastation from Hurricane Helene hit days ago, but still many residents in Citrus County picking up the pieces. I'm Lenny Sue Paul. A full report straight ahead.
We're joining you from Pinellas County, where you can see neighbors helping neighbors in the aftermath of Helene. Coming up, how you can also pitch in.
Live, this is News Channel 8 at 4 on your side.
Good afternoon, I'm Stacy Schuyler.
And I'm Josh Benson. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Citrus County schools are wrapping up their first day back in the classroom since Hurricane Helene hit, but many families are still recovering.
Homes and businesses still without power in that area. And 8 on your side's Lenny Sue Paul is in Crystal River with the latest.
Take a look at some of the aerial footage of the damage and the cleanup underway in Clearwater. This was Clearwater Beach this afternoon, and as you can see, it's quite a mess out there. I mean, sand was pushed in all sorts of directions, so they have a lot of work to do in that area. But access to Clearwater Beach remains limited at this hour, and right now only residents and the business owners are allowed. This beach will remain closed to visitors until 4 p.m. tomorrow. That's what we're told. But even then, they're being asked to stay away. And on your side's Melissa Marino is there now to show us the extent of all the damage.
Taking a look at the tropics right now, we have a lot going on, but a lot of it isn't going to impact anyone. Most of the system's not going to impact anyone. Post-tropical storm Isaac up there, tropical depression Joyce, and tropical storm Kirk, all swirling in the Atlantic. In addition, there's this other area of development with a 90% chance to develop. It will also follow the same path as tropical storm Kirk, which is expected to become a hurricane, and that's curving out into the open Atlantic. We call them fish storms because that's all it impacts, and it's our favorite kind of storm, at least. Now, the other area to watch is unfortunately not going to be a fish storm. And so this only has a 40% chance to develop at this point, but models have been hinting over the ways that we are going to see some similar development to Helene in terms of location, but what we're not going to see is similar intensity. And that's because we have a ton of shear across the Gulf right now. And so if this system forms and moves into the northern Gulf and potentially impacts the Panhandle, forecast models show it kind of backing off and sliding into the Florida Peninsula. If that were to occur, we'd potentially be looking at a Category 1 storm anywhere from Tampa southward, but it's still way too soon to tell. Those are just the two scenarios that most forecast models are showing, one or the other right now. But the timing is late weekend into the beginning of next week, so we'll keep an eye on things. I think we'll have a better idea by Wednesday or Thursday as to what you can expect. Looking over our microlumen camera right now, it's showing off. It's beautiful out there. We're at 91 though, so we're still really rough for those without power. We're seeing a few pop-up showers to the east of I-75 in Manatee County, and I'm tracking a little boundary here moving through eastern Hillsborough for the potential for some further development as well. Temperatures are hot anywhere from the upper 80s to the low 90s, and we're in for a slow cool down this evening. The sun sets at 7:17, and that'll help it feel a little bit better. Mainly inland showers tapering off after sunset as well. We'll take a look at the timing of tomorrow's chances for rain coming up next.
Thanks, Rebecca. Well, communities across the Bay Area are teaming up to help those most affected by the storm. That is the case for a neighborhood in Pinellas County. News Channel 8's Brianna Villegas is live at Indian Rocks Beach, where I know sand was one of the big issues, right?
Absolutely. But all throughout the day, it's just been amazing to see, that community come together. You can see here, there's been a truck unloading a lot of supplies, and it's along Gulf Boulevard. You'll see these tarps set up, and there's just a bunch of stuff in here that people can just come up and take if they need. And the people organizing all of this, trying to recover from all the damage.
Just helping.
And the other thing Sarah tells me is that they're really looking for a boat captain that can help bring in more supplies just like this over to the island. So if you know anyone or if you just want to donate, I'll have more details on that on our WFLA app. I'll send it back to you.
That's heartening to see so many people there to help, and just come on up, get what you need. The gloves, key. I'm sure there's a run on those right now. Good stuff. Thanks, Brianna. Well, Feeding Tampa Bay is hosting multiple food distribution events for storm victims. In Tampa, there's a food giveaway from the flood after 6 p.m. tonight at the Crosswind Church. Over in Pinellas County, St. Paul UMC and Riviera Bay Park also hosting distributions until 6 p.m.
Lowe's home improvement stores are lending a hand to the community during hurricane cleanup. Now, the company is hosting a bucket brigade tomorrow. Stores across 10. Lowe's is also donating $2 million to support relief efforts.
We're seeing the community come together to help each other recover in a lot of instances. And in Hillsborough County, one business is offering free boarding for dogs impacted by the hurricane. Rowdy's Pet Resort in Apollo Beach is offering temporary housing for dogs impacted by the storm at no charge. The offer is good for this week only until Friday. You do need to provide proof of residency and your pet's vaccine information.
Well, after the break, retailers could be desperate for hurricane recovery supplies later this week.
Port workers are planning to walk off the job. We'll tell you when that strike could happen.
Eagle 8 HD coverage is brought to you by your Suncoast Hyundai dealers. Visit your local dealer today or shop buyhyundai.com.
Several ports nationwide, including the Port of Tampa Bay, may close as soon as workers are set to walk off the job.
That's right. Workers are demanding new contracts for higher wages, and this can delay stores receiving Hurricane Helene recovery supplies and, of course, the holiday shopping and shipping season. Ellison Barber reports.
Well, as many people were forced to evacuate in preparation for their side, reached out to the Tampa-Hillsborough Expressway Authority, and the Director of Communications tells us that toll roads are automatically suspended after the governor declares a state of emergency. However, the governor's office did not suspend statewide tolls during Hurricane Helene, so toll collections on the Selman were still active.
If you need help getting around Pinellas County, the city of St. Petersburg and Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority are teaming up to offer fare-free bus service for the next 2 weeks. Now, the St. Pete Emergency Zero Fare program will offer service from today through October 14th. Free fares will apply to regular bus trips that begin and end in St. Pete. Riders are also being told to be aware of the Sunrunner is turning around at Pasadena due to limited access.
Max Defender 8, the most accurate weather radar in Florida.
Taking a look at what's going on in the tropics, we just covered all those fish storms, and of course the potential for development that is in the Gulf is the one to watch because all the rest will stay out over the open Atlantic. They did lower the chance for it to develop from 50% to 40% over the next 7 days, and that's just a sign of the uncertainty that we're seeing in the forecast models. The latest changes between the GFS and the Euro is the GFS sort of backed off on development. Now the Euro develops first. You can see there in the red. The GFS tries to start building some sort of system out there over the weekend, and the GFS comes a lot closer to New Orleans and the Panhandle, while the Euro is sliding a little bit further to the south and to the east. And so it's still too soon to tell. This is a Monday afternoon timing positioning wise, and so it did get pushed back later. When we first started watching this system in long-term forecast models, it was pushing through on Thursday and Friday of this week, then over the weekend, now possibly Monday and Tuesday. And so we'll keep an eye on it. It was still way too soon to tell where it's going to head, but the good news is it's not going to be nearly as strong as Helene was. It'll either be a weak tropical storm or a weak Category 1 hurricane at most. And so there's just too much shear for it to do much else. Looking out over our microlumen camera, it's beautiful out there. We have a couple of isolated showers in Manatee County just to the east of I-75. I'm watching this boundary move through eastern Hillsborough towards Polk. Could see some showers pop up along that. That boundary is just providing a little bit of extra lift and instability. But for the evening hours, it's warm. We're in the low 90s right now. We'll head into the upper 80s as we approach sunset, and then after sunset we'll dip into the mid to low 80s, and that's when it'll start to feel a little bit more comfortable out there. Not quite windows open weather, which we wish for because so many people are without power, but at least it's getting out of the 80s overnight tonight. This is your hour-by-hour forecast showing that by 6 o'clock we have an isolated chance for an inland shower or two. That seems to fade out after sunset this evening. That's when things get a lot quieter. We're waking up to some offshore showers tomorrow morning, but for the most part they remain offshore, fading before they get closer to the coastline, and that allows us to really heat up. As we start to pop into the 90s during the afternoon hours, we'll have some showers firing up along I-75. We'll also have some showers firing up over I-90, verging over the center of the state, growing in coverage and intensity as they do so on Tuesday night. Moving into Wednesday morning, things get a lot quieter. Nice start Wednesday with more isolated showers, but the same pattern. Couple on the east coast, couple on the west coast, colliding generally along I-75 and east of that, where we will see them pulse in intensity just a bit, but then fade pretty quickly after that. Wednesday's a little drier than Tuesday is. Moving into Thursday, those southern chances for rain are back. Here's a look at your 5-day forecast when it comes to rainfall breakdown. And so tomorrow we'll have some good downpours just along into the east of I-75, anywhere from Lakeland all the way over to Polk City, all the way up to Brandon, maybe down even to Riverview. That's kind of the zone where we're going to get the heaviest of the rain. On Wednesday, we'll see some of those showers reaching our coastline, but it's fewer showers in general and also smaller areas of rain. Not quite as big of an area of rain on Wednesday's chances for rain. And so here's how that looks on your 8-day forecast. We've got a 50% chance for rain tomorrow, a 30% chance on Wednesday, and a 40% chance on Thursday. By Friday, we're back up to 50% chances for rain. And look at your building chances for rain all weekend long, peaking on Monday, which is when, by our best guess, we could see some tropical moisture moving through here. But that is heavily dependent on that forecast, and right now the system hasn't formed yet, so all forecast models are doing a pretty poor job of explaining what will happen once the system actually forms. We get a model run or two under us, and that's when we have a more high confidence in the forecast. But for right now, looking for the potential for some rain by the beginning of next week.
We don't have to tell you Better Call Bankin' gets results. You tell us.
You are a miracle worker. Something that took me 2.5 months to resolve, you got done in one day.
Watch weekdays at 5 only on NewsChannel 8.
Well, Cedar Key has seen 3 hurricanes in just 13 months, but residents remain resilient despite all that damage.
Bailey Cornick spoke to one woman who searched for what was most important to her, and that was her cat.
There are so many stories like that throughout the whole state, so it's unbelievable.
That's going to take a long time.
Yep. All right, News Channel 8 at 5 is straight ahead. Stay with us.
We don't have to tell you Better Call Bankin' gets results. You tell us.
Thank you very much. You really make a difference in people's lives.
Better Call Bankin', weekdays at 5 only on NewsChannel 8.
Closed captioning sponsored by Culpeper Kurland. Auto accident? Call Culpeper Kurland. Compassionate, kind. Culpeper Kurland.